It's now been 3 weeks since my crash, and that means 3 weeks off the bike, for the most part. And so, I decided to take advantage of the downtime, and I've been working on a few things, one of those things being bike maintenance. Looking over my Strava data, I noticed that I've reached 50 hours of riding on my bike, which means it's time to service my fork. Strom recommends forks be serviced every 50 hours, with the first one being the lower leg service. If you've been following my story, you know that I'm not a mountain bike expert. And if you're new to the channel, just watch my other videos and you'll see what I mean. If I can do this type of maintenance, then you can too. This is my second time doing this, and this time it took me about an hour. Alright, let's get started. Step 1. I release all of the air, making sure all of the air is out of the fork. Step 2. I remove the front tire, front brake, and the brake cable clamp. Then I remove the rebound adjustment knob. I turn the knob counterclockwise all the way, and I count the number of clicks. Then I loosen the bolts 3 to 4 turns. This should be enough for me to see a gap like this. Next, I place an oil pan beneath the fork to catch the draining oil. Now this next step is what made me kind of nervous the first time I did this, which is to strike each bolt to dislodge the shafts from the lower leg on each side. After a couple of strikes, the bolt head should contact the bottom of the leg. Then I remove the bolts. Now it's time to pull down on the lower leg. This is where it gets a bit tricky because the lower leg doesn't slide down easily. If after a few firm pulls it's still not sliding off, then the previous step needs to be repeated, which means gotta put the bolts back in and strike them with the mallet again. It may take a minute or two of pulling, but the leg does come off. Next, I remove the foam rings. I give them a good cleaning and I place them in a container of suspension oil. Then I take my alcohol spray bottle and give it a good wipe down and slide a wooden dowel with a rag down each side. Now it's time to reassemble. I put the foam rings back on, being careful not to have any folds. Then I take my Strom butter and apply it on the foam rings and inside of the dust wiper seals. And now it's time to put the lower leg back on. This step here took me a long time the first time I did this. Very patiently, slide the leg, making sure the seals don't fold. I get one side just barely on, and then the other side. The key thing here is to just be patient. Now it's time to inject the recommended oil volume into each lower leg, making sure to leave a gap between the shaft ends and the lower leg bolt holes. The oil needs to go on the leg, not inside the shaft. Next, I slide the lower leg all the way up and put the bolts back on, as well as the rebound adjuster knob. Turning it clockwise this time, the same amount of clicks so that I can get it back to how I initially had it set up. Now I just put the front brake back on, the front tire, and I pump the same amount of air pressure back on the fork to get it to how I initially had it. And that's it. It's really not that difficult. You just gotta follow the instructions on your service manual. Hopefully you can use this video to kind of guide you as well, but the intent of the video was not so much the how-to, even though it's there, but it was more to just kind of give you the confidence that you can do this yourself as well. Again, I'm not an expert at this. I'm learning as I go, but it's not that difficult, and it's really cool to do your own service on your bike. So anyways, I hope you found this video useful and helpful in some way. Another thing, if you like the shirt that I was wearing in the video and you're interested in getting one, just check out the description. There's a link there to my store where you can pick up that particular shirt as well as others. So anyways, yeah, thanks for watching. Until next time, God bless.